Good evening and welcome to the Grand Prairie City Council meeting for Monday, August 19th. I'd ask everyone in attendance to rise and join us in singing O Canada.
Audio background.
Thank you to the National Film Board of Canada for the images of our country, and thank you to our very own Grand Prairie City Council Choir for the audio. We'd move on to minutes of the previous council meeting. See Councillor Crokin.
Thank you, Mayor Given. I move the minutes of City Council meeting held August 6th, 2013 be adopted.
Thanks very much, Councillor Crokin. Did anyone note any errors or omissions in that set of minutes? Seeing nothing, then I'll call for the vote. Thank you, and that motion carries. And a motion for the adoption of the agenda. Councillor Wong.
Thank you, Mayor Given. I move that Council adopt the agenda as presented with the addition of items 9.6.1, award tender T59-55213, and 9.6.2, which is for tender T58-55213.
Great, thanks very much, Councillor Wong. So motion for the agenda with those two additional items. Those will come up as 9.6.1 and 9.6.2. Is there anything else on the agenda before we adopt? Seeing nothing, then I'll call for the vote. Thank you. And that motion carries as well. That would take us to the delegation portion of our agenda. This is an opportunity for anybody in the community to come forward and address council on any community-related matter. I'm looking out, and it looks like summertime has overtaken our public gallery. It looks a little sparse out there. So I don't think, unless that gentleman in the beard wanted to come. No, it doesn't look like he's making any steps towards the front here. So we'll close the delegation portion of our agenda. We do have this at every regular city council meeting, an opportunity for the community to come forward. But we'll close delegations for tonight. We had no public hearings, no unfinished business, and that would take us into item 8.1, reports, bylaw C1100-200, land use bylaw amendment. And I will turn it over to Mr. McIntyre to introduce that. Michael.
Thank you, Mayor Given. This item, land use bylaw amendment C1100-200. Am I leaning too close to the microphone? I think it's surprisingly good at picking up. The subject property is located on the south side of 68th Avenue, just across from the CKC site, and it involves 4 parcels of land, total area of around 1.5 to 2 hectares. The application is for a commercial development, specifically the direct control district approach has been recommended, and the applicant was agreeable to apply for this. The development would allow for essentially the same range of uses that the CS Commercial Service District allows for. In this instance, it would allow for additional stories to accommodate a 4-story office building. The recommendation from administration is to give the amendment first reading this evening and recommend Monday, September 16th for public hearing.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. McIntyre. So we look for a motion for first reading. Councillor Rice.
I move first reading of bylaw C1100-200 being an amendment to the land use bylaw.
Thanks very much, Councillor Rice. No discussion or debate on first reading. I'll call for the vote. That motion carries. Councillor Rice.
I move that council establish Monday, September 16th, 2013 at 6:30 p.m. at City Council chambers as the date, time, and location for the public hearing of bylaw C1100-200.
Thanks very much, Councillor Rice. Any discussion or debate as to date, time, and location of that public hearing? Seeing nobody ringing in the queue, then I'll call for the vote on date, time, and location. That motion carries. That concludes all the business for item 8.1. We move on to item 8.2, bylaw C1260, a bylaw to adopt the new land use bylaw. Mr. McIntyre.
Thank you, Mayor Given. The bylaw C1260, as you indicated, is a bylaw to adopt the new land use bylaw and at the same time rescinding the existing land use bylaw C1100 and all amendments to it, and to give it first reading this evening and recommend Monday, September 16th for the public hearing. The city initiated a review of this land use bylaw in 2010. The proposed new land use bylaw is a result of extensive consultation with the public and the development and our some key stakeholders such as the Home Builders Association and the Urban Development Institute. And if you have any questions, I'm quite happy to answer them.
Thanks very much, Mr. McIntyre. So at this point, we're looking for first reading, so we no discussion or debate, of course, but motion for first reading, Councillor Rice.
Reading of bylaw C1260. It's being a bylaw to adopt the new land use bylaw and to rescind the existing land use bylaw C1100 and all the amendments to it. So the amendment we just passed will now be incorporated.
Thanks very much, Councillor Rice, for one of those funny transition times. So a motion for first reading. There's no discussion and debate on first reading. I will call for the vote.
Oops, mine flipped away. I don't know if it caught.
Thank you. That motion carries. Councillor Rice, date, time, and location.
I move that council establish that Monday, September 16th, 2013 at 6:30 p.m. in City Council chambers as the date, time, and location for the public hearing of bylaw C1260.
Thanks very much, Councillor Rice. Any discussion or debate as to date, time, and location of that public hearing? Seeing no council members ringing in, then I will call for the vote.
Yeah.
Thank you, and that motion carries. I believe that handles all of our reports items, and we take us straight into committee business. The first set of minutes on our committee business is the Combative Sports Commission from August 1st. Councillor O'Toole.
Thank you very much, Mayor Given. Yes, I'd like the council to receive the minutes of the Combative Sports Commission meeting held on August 1st, 2013.
Thanks very much, Councillor O'Toole. Any discussion or debate on that set of minutes? Did anyone notice anything out of place that needed to be corrected? Seeing nothing, looks like we got it perfect. We'll call for the vote. Thank you. And that motion carries. Anything you'd like to highlight from that meeting, Councillor O'Toole?
Yes, Mayor Given. We just had a promoter in town that wanted to change the date of an event. And also we had another promoter from out of town that asked for a business license.
Okay. Thanks very much, Councillor O'Toole. So we move to item 9.2, the Community Growth Committee from August 6th. Councillor Radburn, I think you're going to handle that set of minutes for us. Correct?
That is correct. Thank you, Mayor Given. Yes, Chair Gustafson isn't here tonight, so I'll do that. I'd move council receive the minutes of the Community Growth Committee meeting held August 6, 2013.
Thank you very much. Councillor Radburn, did anyone notice anything out of place in that set of minutes? Seeing none, then I'll call for the vote to adopt them. Thank you very much, and that vote has passed. Councillor Radburn?
Thank you. I would move a council deny the request from La Corporation Episcopale Catholique de Grouard Economy Diocesain to waive fees. So I believe it's the Catholic Archdiocese offices. Is that correct there, Councillor Crokin? Okay, yeah. Because I've brutalized the name. Anyway, the motion is to deny the request to waive fees. Background there, we have some criteria with respect to this. The one criteria that they qualify as being nonprofit, but typically these fees are waived for affordable housing development projects, and we have never, in terms of precedent, we have not in the past waived fees for churches or religious assemblies. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks very much, Councillor Radburn. Any discussion or debate on the motion? See anybody in the queue? Any discussion or debate on the motion to deny the request? Seeing nothing, I'll call for the vote. Thank you. And that motion carries. Councillor Radburn?
Thank you, Given. I would move Council Award RFP 28-400-13 to 1718695 Alberta Limited, Curtis D.P. Smith Professional Corporation as presented. This was an RFP that was submitted. The deadline came, and there was one application. This application was, as I recall, others can help me, for a renovated, upgraded office building that we're quite impressed with. These lands, and they have chosen, even though they probably didn't need to, they've chosen to add some parking to this office building, and I believe that's what the lands that we're selling will be used for.
Thank you. Councillor Radburn, any discussion or debate on the motion? Questions or comments on this recommendation to award this RFP? Seeing nothing, I will call for the votes. Thank you. And that motion carries. Councillor Radburn, was there anything else that you wanted to highlight from that set of minutes?
I think that covers the agenda. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Councillor Radburn. Thanks for handling that set of business on Councillor Gustafson's behalf. That takes us to 9.3, Community Living Committee from August 6th. Councillor Crokin.
Thanks, Mayor Given. I move council receive the minutes of the Community Living Committee meetings held August the 6th, 2013.
Thanks very much, Councillor Crokin. Did anyone note anything out of place in that set of minutes? Looks like upon review, they passed, so I will call for the vote to adopt. Councillor Crokin, anything you'd like to highlight from that set of minutes?
Yes, thanks, Mayor Given. We had Danielle Hester, South Peace Ball Association, with the playground committee, and they're proposing a playground at the South Bear Creek playground, or ballpark, a playground there. So that's going to be going to administration and coming back to us with some more technical details. And one other item that we're, yourself, Mayor Given, we have a letter to contact Grand Prairie Sports Council to see if there's any interest in submitting a bid to host the 2019 Canada Winter Games. We have held them, I do believe, that'd be just about 24 years ago. And there might be some want out there too. I know we got strong volunteers here, but we'll see if the Sports Council comes back with any interest.
Okay. Thanks very much, Councillor Crokin.
That was everything.
I'm sorry, did we vote on that set of minutes? Thanks very much. Okay, so that'd take us to the Community Safety Committee from August 13th. Councillor Wong.
Yes, thank you very much, Mayor Given. I move that council receive the minutes of the Community Safety Committee meeting held August 13, 2013.
Thanks very much, Councillor Wong. Any discussion or debate on that set of minutes? Do we notice anything out of place? Councillor McLean.
Thank you, Mayor Given. Not necessarily out of place, but it says they're quite happy around the shores development there, where they had some issues of some vandalism and really high grass, 3-4 feet last year. It's all looking good. They're completely happy. I just had it because that was a good issue there.
Administration, thank you, Mayor Given. Administration had a meeting with the members of the Shores Condo Association, as well as a Qualco agent was there too. They're the owners of the property, and Qualco let everyone know that demolition of that building they're looking at tenders for demolition of that building. So the residents in that area were really happy to hear that.
Okay, and the grass has been cut there too as well. I don't know. I haven't went up there. I don't live there.
I believe the owners had done the maintenance things that the neighborhood was concerned about. Okay. There were also representatives from the RCMP and crime prevention that attended. The RCMP were able to highlight that they hadn't received any calls on that property in the past 6 months. I'm trying to go from memory about the committee, but so the residents though were very pleased with the result of the discussion from the city representatives that met with them.
Thank you, Councillor Wong.
Yep. Thanks, Councillor McLean. Any other discussion or debate on that set of minutes? Seeing nothing, I'll call for the vote. Thank you. And that motion carries. Councillor Wong.
I'll move that council approve $60,000 in funding from the Woody Channel drainage account to fund the Copperwood Woodgrove City shared stormwater pond design. That's a stormwater pond planned on the east side of the city, just south of where Copperwood is now, or southeast of where they are now. There's going to be 3 benefactors to that, the 2 developments and the city of Grand Prairie. So the city administration feels that $60,000 from the Woody Channel drainage account, which has $500,000 in it, could be used for the design, and it would design a staged-in pond so that it would be a really attractive water feature for the city, but also manage all the stormwater for those 2 developments.
Thanks very much, Councillor Wong. Any discussion or debate on the motion? I don't see anybody in the queue. Oh, Councillor McLean.
Touch quick there.
That's fine.
Councillor Wong, this lagoon that they're going to build for a storage pond, is it going to be dry, or is there actually going to be water in it? And then if it overfills it, does it go along all the way down that eastern border, come of Signature Falls? That's the drainage, main drainage of that area. Is that part of it?
I may have to defer a little bit of this to administration, but yes, it is going to be a wet pond for sure. So it's going to be a water feature pond. I'm not sure where the ultimate drainage goes.
I believe from the committee meeting, I believe they said that the intent was that it's part of that linear storm management system the council previously approved the master plan for. So it will go along that east side, continue through the woody ditch
all the way down
system.
Okay, thanks.
Any other discussion or debate on the motion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. Thank you. And that motion carries. Councillor Wong, was there anything else that you wanted to highlight from that set of minutes?
Yes, we did deal with a few other items. There was the pedestrian crossing at 68th Avenue and O'Brien Lake Drive. We had a delegation come in and talk to us about the safety of that crosswalk. Administration has got back or has consulted with ATCO, and they determined that the lighting level was insufficient there. So they have upped the wattages of all the lights there. In the future, that's planned to be a twinned road, 68th Ave. So at that time, there's going to be, or prior to that, there will be lights installed, like a full set of traffic lights and pedestrian crossings. So I guess the point of it is that they know the plan going forward. For now, the crosswalk with the illuminated lights is sufficient, or should be sufficient, to manage pedestrian safety, and we'll see going forward within the next 5-year plan, we should see some upgrades to 68th Avenue. The other couple of reports that we received was information signage around the city. pointing people to all the attractions. We received that report for information. We also had a reservoir design update, which our committee directed an administration to work with a specific design on the reservoir where we were planning to do a little bit of dredging and form those islands. We had to go with the more expensive of the two designs because of the makeup of the material. They had a geotechnical engineer go through, and it turns out that there was a lot of silt that wouldn't hold its form. The direction does not cost the city any more money. This is just to design what could be done in the future, and it would be up to a future council to allocate funds to go ahead with that project or not. And that's all I have.
Thanks very much, Councillor Wong. That would take us to, Councillor McLean, you had a question?
On the reservoir for Councillor Wong, they said there's 5 meters on the bottom there. They figure they got to take out. Is that true, or is that? Seems
it's 5 meters or 10 million cubic meters worth of silt.
So are we going to even have a reservoir if they make islands?
Well, it's really important to do that dredging because the health of the reservoir and the functioning of the spillway really depends on making sure that it has enough depth in that as a water basin. So over time, silt has drifted into that reservoir, and it's come from upstream as well. If the future council doesn't do it, what you're going to end up seeing is slowly that reservoir is just going to overgrow on itself, and the problems with odor are always going to be there. And of course, our spillway won't be able to operate properly, and it affects everything downstream of Bear Creek.
Thank you, Councillor Wong. And I was just amazed by the 5 meters on the bottom, and wondering about when you talk about islands, because I know it's big for Councillor Gustin in the reservoir. Maybe some of this could be brought, and I heard this before, to landfill and then use as layers. They're saying contamination. Well, they contaminate it for the sewer anyways, so it's a landfill. So I'm wondering how much area that's capacity, and that'll probably come to a future council, and yeah, it's probably going to be done, but if we talk about islands, you got to dredge quite a bit there, and what's that going to look like? I'm sure that's the future, but I was amazed at how much silt was there.
Okay, thanks very much, Councillor McLean. That would take us to 9.5, the Corporate Services Committee from August 13th. Councillor Radburn, I think that might be your agenda, if I remember correctly, is it?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mayor Given. I move council receive the minutes of the Corporate Services Committee meeting held August 13th, 2013.
Thanks very much, Councillor Radburn. Any discussion or debate on that set of minutes? Seeing nobody ringing in with an objection, I will call for the vote. Thank you. And that motion carries. Councillor Radburn, anything you'd like to highlight from that set of minutes?
Yes, thank you, Mayor Given. Just 4 highlights or 4 agenda items. One was we had a heavy equipment purchase contract that we chose to postpone. Admin was directed to report back on 3 bits of information that we have asked for. Key performance indicators were presented for information. They're all kind of indicators relative to our corporate strategy goals. Thirdly, we received the unaudited financial statement for, I guess, 6 months. We're halfway through. At this point, they are estimating a just over $3 million surplus. And finally, we received some information relative to the Public Interest Disclosure Act from the province. And we've asked administration to review the implications of that for our municipality and report back. Thank you, Mayor Given.
Thanks very much, Councillor Radburn. That would take us to our additional agenda items. Councillor Wong, these came from a special Community Safety Committee meeting, so I believe those are yours.
Yes, that's correct, Mayor Given. I'll move that Council award tender T59552-13 for the 132nd Avenue upgrades, Phase 1, CN Rail to 84th Street to Canelson Rock Products Limited in the amount of $804,065, excluding GST, as the lowest qualified tender meeting the City of Grand Prairie specifications.
Thanks very much, Councillor Wong. Open for discussion and debate. I see Councillor Rice.
Is this the plan that the chamber has agreed to, has approved? I know they had some serious concerns about 132nd Avenue.
Councillor Wong?
Yeah, this particular tender is just for pavement overlay, minor manhole and valve adjustments, and pavement markings. It doesn't do anything with the geometry of that road. It's just to fix the structure.
Thank you. Now I will speak in opposition to the motion. I cannot believe yet once again we would award a tender to Knelson when they still haven't finished 124th Avenue, a project that should have been a minor project. And I mean, it is absolutely bizarre the shape they left it in last year and the time that our staff has had to spend working with them to get that project back on track. I guess if you're only going to do half the work, then certainly you can underbid everybody else. And I will not be supporting this, and I wish Councillor Monroe was here.
Thanks very much, Councillor Rice. Any further discussion, debate on the motion? Seeing nobody ringing into the queue, I will call for the vote. Thank you. That motion carries with one opposed. Councillor Wong.
I move the council award tender T58552-13 for the 2013-2014 Rehabilitation and Overlay Program. There are several locations: 90th Street, Pinnacle Boulevard and Street, Muskasippi Park parking lot, various ACP and concrete repairs to Knelson Rock Products Limited in the amount of $1,952,790.01, excluding GST, as the lowest qualified tender meeting the city's specifications. And administration is, they are prepared to show a map of all the different locations of work that's being done. This is work that is scheduled, some of it's scheduled for this year, and some of it is scheduled for 2014 as well.
Thanks very much, Councillor Wong. Open for discussion and debate. I see Councillor Rice.
Cannot believe that you would even consider more work to this company until they have successfully completed that job. I don't know what someone would have to say. You know, does our criteria, the lowest tender meeting specifications, does our specification not have to say a track record? I mean, I drove 124th Avenue last year. I have driven cut lines that were in better shape, and then it had to sit like that all winter. And then, lo and behold, it got worse. And we just keep awarding tenders to this company. And I would assume that our specifications have to do with track record. If not, do we need to relook at those specifications? This is getting bizarre.
Thanks very much, Councillor Rice. Councillor Wong, do you want to speak to the tender, or is there anybody from administration that would like to speak to that about how, I guess, the essential concern is, does this company have the ability to do this work in the time frame that's allotted? Councillor Rice, is that, aside from the concern about past performance,
Yes.
but based on that, do they have the ability to do it in the time allotted? I don't know if, Ms. Hinton, if you would care to speak to the amount of time and the expectation of delivering on this. If you want to maybe come to the presenter's table, is probably the easiest. Mr. Hinton from the engineering department.
Right now, Knelson Rock Products has guaranteed that the work they have scheduled for this year for this project, they have said they were planning on getting it done. The work they have scheduled for this year is the Muskasippi parking lot and the entrance into the park. That's part of the work. And there's a bus stop at the Eastlink Center that they are going to be planning to get work done this year as well. All the rest of the work is going to be scheduled for next year.
Oh, and when did they plan on finishing 124th? Can they fit that into their schedule?
As far as I know at this time, that they are planning to get everything completed that they have scheduled.
So administration's response is that of all this work, there's only two portions, two projects essentially that are in 2013 construction season. The balance, though, is in 2014.
I still urge council not to support this motion until they have completed their work from 2 years ago, and then maybe we can look at it.
Okay. Thanks, Councillor Rice. I see others in the queue. Councillor McLean.
Mayor Gibbon, I can see where Councillor Rice is coming from, but I'm sure administration is looking at this quite directly and then in the future. And one of the things what I'd like to see happen, which you're saying will happen right away because you picked a tender, is Mississippi will be done this year. Of course, September time frame with the pillars and everything going down there. Some individuals had events maybe going to plan, but it's going to be but when it's all done, it's really rough down there. I'd love to see it get done this year, and that's why I'll be supporting it. But I think administration would be on alert on, this company.
Thanks, Councillor McLean. Councillor O'Toole.
Thank you very much, Mayor Gibbon. Just a question, if you could answer it for me. When do they expect to start on this, and when would the jobs that they have bid on for this year possibly be completed?
Mr. Hint.
Right now, the completion dates for the one in the Mississippi Park is towards the end of September, beginning of October, or end of September, middle of October for the Mississippi Park Pavilion area there. That's when they plan to get that one done. And as far as I know, for the 124th Avenue, they are just waiting for some TELUS manhole there to get that frame and cover and to help complete the rest of the work. So as far as, I'm not sure exactly when they're planning to complete, but I know they're planning here shortly. So once they get a few little odds and ends completed.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Councillor O'Toole. Councillor Crokin.
Thanks, Mayor Gibbon. I'll be speaking in favor of these two tenders to Canelson. I also am not in favor of jobs not getting done. But on the particular job on 124th Avenue, it was a colossal of errors. Probably we'll have to take some blame for it. I'm just communicating with the contractor, with the owners of the land on both sides of the 124th Avenue. We weren't alone in the blunders. There was the weather that did not cooperate. We have no control over that. But our partners in the city of Atco and TELUS did also, they tripped up pretty bad on these projects. When I drove down there today, the TELUS manhole cover is still about 4 inches higher than it should be. And I know Christine Donnelly, our department, has asked TELUS to get that thing in order so they can finish the paving and help the sergeants, Kenneth Sargent and Caput, get their business back on track. It's just not acceptable at all. But I think with all the errors, we have to take the lowest bidder. We can't just take who we would think could be able to do the job. There was other bidders, Wapiti Sand and Gravel. They're a good contractor, but they were higher, so we took the lowest bid, and we have to stick with the lowest bidder according to the Municipal Government Act.
Okay. Thanks, Councillor Crokin. Councillor Rice.
It says the lowest tender meeting specifications, and you determine the specifications, and you determine what percentage price is, and you determine what reputation, what percentage reputation is, track record, that type of thing. So the process is not finite by any means. I guess, Mr. Hinton, could you estimate roughly how many hours our staff spent and Councillor Crokin mentioned Christine Donnelly and spending time out there. It seems to me when you award a tender, then our staff steps away except for supervision. But our staff spent multitudes of hours doing stuff that to me should be the contractor's job. So the many, many hours our staff spent getting this project back on track, do we bill Canelson or do we just say, geez, we got to get this done, golly?
As part of the contract and tender, there is the clause where we, depending upon when the completion date is and site days, that's where we get the money back. If, let's say, they're over, say, 10, 15 days, we get a certain amount of money back from them.
So are we getting triple back what we gave them?
No. There's a site day penalty and the completion date penalty as well. So we're getting that money back as part of that work. So every day that they're not completed, we get a certain amount of dollars back from the contractor.
Thanks, Mr. Hinton. Councillor Crokin.
Thanks, Mayor Given. Again, just I had missed one other player. We do also hire engineering firm that was to carry the ball on our behalf. As councillors, we just can't be over there watching what's happening, and I have no idea which way the water runs. I have a good idea, but engineers have it all engineered out. So I feel there was a bit of, we were let down there. The city was let down, your department, and obviously council by the person that was supposed to be our clerk of the works or our eyes on the job. So just the combination is not good anyway.
Thanks very much, Councillor Crokin. Any further debate on this motion to award these projects? Seeing nobody else in the queue, then I will call for the vote. Thank you. That motion carries with one opposed. I believe that handled our two additional items. And so we would move on. We had no items of correspondence today. We had no delegations. We had no notices of motion. And we have no council members that have external reports from agencies, boards, and commissions. So, Councillor Rice. Councillor Rice. Here.
Yes, I have quite a large list. I met with the flood victims from central and southern Alberta.
This is AUMA report.
Yeah, sorry.
Excuse me.
Met with the flood victims from central and southern Alberta. We looked at beginning to prepare a report on strategies municipalities could adopt to mitigate any future flooding, to make sure that it doesn't happen elsewhere. Met with the federal government talking about the Building Canada Fund, where the representative urged all municipalities to meet with their MLA. The feds have turned the money over to the province, and now it's up to the province what is eligible. So they are urging all municipalities to meet with their MLAs to ensure that they identify projects that the municipalities actually need. I also met with the members of the Board of Directors of the Federation of Canadian Municipalities to discuss their new proximity initiative. And the proximity initiative deals with railroad tracks and train whistles in proximity, trying to get a standard across Canada as to what proximity it is to residential areas. So that was a welcome one. And I attended at Fort Vermilion on the AMDNC zone meeting. It was their 225th anniversary. So that was kind of humbling as we look at our excitement for our 100th anniversary. 225 years. It's the oldest community in Alberta. So congratulations to them. And one other thing.
Can I ask you an AUMA question?
Yeah.
You mentioned the Build Canada funds have come from the federal government to the provincial government. Do we have any indication at this point whether the province is considering a competitive process or a population-based allocation or what sort of process they're going to be going through?
I don't believe the province has determined theirs yet. That's why the federal representative said meet with your province so you can get your MLAs to get your input into them so that the process and the eligible projects they have, your MLAs can take that forward.
So I wonder, maybe we should have that as a appropriate standing committee, advocacy with regard to the new Build Canada Fund.
Okay.
We should be telling our MLAs that we'd like to see it on a population allocation rather than a competitive process.
Okay, so do you want me to refer that to the appropriate committee? Okay.
Great. Thanks very much. Councillor Rice. Sorry, you said you had one other thing.
One other thing, just a good news update. The AMSC Energy members have realized huge energy rate savings in the recently completed first round of procurement for the upcoming program. So we will see our utilities drop drastically.
Excellent news, considering we're AMSC's one of their largest purchasers. That's fantastic news. Thanks very much, Councillor Rice.
No other reports.
Okay.
And so you want me to
Sure. Well, we'll start with Councilmember Roundtable, and Councilor Rice, we'll start with you.
Do you want the Build Canada thing? Do I have to do any more? That's enough?
I think administration heard you refer it, so it's...
Okay. I met with Greg for my one-on-one. I recognize it wasn't probably his favorite day of the week, but we did quite well, and community growth, community something director, Jeanette Ferguson joined us. And I was at the meeting with the Municipal Affairs critic, Wildrose Municipal Affairs critic, Bruce Rowe. And as well, I attended the Grand Prairie Regional Tourism weekly meet and greet barbecue. They have this every Wednesday from 4 to 6 for June, July, and August at Center 2000, and it's meet, M-E-A-T, and greet. And I urge all of you to go out there. They go to all the campgrounds in the city and invite people to stop on by for a barbecue. And it's a great way chatting with people from all over. And again, it's Wednesday nights from 4 to 6, so June, July, and August. So and now my big news, I am so pleased. I have here, and I will distribute to council, each member of council, the 100th anniversary sponsorship package. As you know, we were counting heavily upon the Cultural Capitals grant, and the federal government canceled that, so we are now having to fund all of the activities through sponsorship. So I would give each of you one of these. I ask that you pass it out to a business or something that you think may be of interest, that might be interested in sponsoring. There's small events, big events. Please don't put it on your shelf. Get it out into the community, because if you don't, I'm just going to bug you during budget time for money. So it would be in your best interest. So I will pass out one of these to each of you. And
it looks like a seal from Grand Marnier.
Okay, sorry.
I haven't got anything in mind.
We're very proud of these. They were put together in loose leaf fashion so that we can update pages without redoing it. You'll notice on the first page 100 years ago, as you dealt with tonight, many bylaws and that, you'll notice that the first bylaws in the city of Grand Prairie dealt with dogs and cats and horses could no longer run at large. Please tie your animals up in such a way that they do not damage the newly installed wooden sidewalks. And could people please keep their chickens fenced in? So if you think you had trouble tonight, turn the clock back 100 years. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Councillor Rice. Certainly exciting to see the progress on the 100th anniversary as we wind down now. A couple of years of preparation is starting to come to a close, and look forward to celebrating that in 2014. Thanks very much for your work and the committee's work on that. Councillor Wong, we'll move to you.
Thank you very much, Mayor Given. On August 9th, I attended the DTS media launch with the rest of council. They announced 3 new disabled handicap buses, 2 replacement units, and 1 new unit. That was great news for the city and great news for their organization. August 12th, I met with the city manager for my final quarterly meeting with Greg Sherback. On the 15th, I attended the Sunrise House 10th anniversary barbecue. And also on the 15th, council met with MLA Bruce Rowe, the official opposition critic for municipal affairs. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Councillor Wong. Councillor McLean.
Thank you, Mayor Gibbon. I just got back from vacation the last couple of weeks, but before I left, there was a few events I'd like to speak to that I went to that were awesome in the city. One was the Street Performers Gala. It was actually tremendous, and whoever did the outlay in there and help the setting of the tables did a tremendous job. It was the best one I've ever seen, and it just starts off the full weekend really well. Another one I was proud to attend for a few days of it. maybe 3, was the East Coast Garden Party. Had a great time, as other councillors as well there. I believe Councillor Rice, Mayor Given, Councillor Crokin. I also attended a grand opening for driving force leases in town. And the reason why I'm bringing this up, I met a gentleman there named Richard Neutfeld, and he is a senator for British Columbia, the peace part of British Columbia. And why I brought it up, we had a very good conversation. His wife runs the Fort St. John's in here, is that between 2001, I believe, and 2009, I'm just bringing it up here, he was the energy minister of BC under the Liberal government. And that's when he really made things turn for the northeast peace area of BC. And you can see development going up there and multi-billion dollars that's happened with liquefied gas and everything. He was a big part of that. And he was appointed to the Senate, even though he was with a Liberal government, by Stephen Harper, Prime Minister Stephen Harper. It was actually one of his better appointments. And it just, you never know when you go to an event who you'll run into, what you could talk about, Senate issues. And I found that really rewarding for council. And I thanked him for his service. And he was an individual who served on a few different parties, as now he's a Conservative senator, and he was a Liberal, and he was a Socialist. And so anyways, I had to bring that up. And a couple other things here. When I got back, I was able to meet, that evening I got back, to meet Councillor John Crokin's kickoff at the Pomeroy. I was very glad to go to that. Councillor Crokin has been born and raised in Grand Prairie, and I'm glad he's decided to run. And I hope he has complete success in 2013, and I was glad to show up that for him. Another one I wanted to say is I heard about Councillor Gustafson not running again, and about family, and I can see where he's coming from. So kudos to Councillor Gustafson, and to Councillor Rice. I work at Weyerhaeuser, and I'll give this to someone at Weyerhaeuser. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks very much, Councillor McLean. Councillor Radburn.
Thank you, Mayor Given. I'm not sure if a truer statement was made. It will be in your best interests. Right, Helen? Quickly, in the last couple of weeks, I guess events that I went to or participated in. August 8th, I attended the downtown parking webinar. The 9th, DTS new bus launch. 14th, Lucy Ramirez's thank you and best wishes as she moves along, goes back to school. Sunrise House 10-year anniversary barbecue. Very exciting as how that has evolved and it's now such a valued and valuable service in our community. I also had my meeting with Mr. Serbach, and I also attended the opposition critic from the Wild Rose for Municipal Affairs, Mr. Bruce Rowe. Thank you, Mayor Given.
Thanks very much, Councillor Radburn. Councillor O'Toole.
Thank you very much, Mayor Given. On the Friday the 9th, I attended the downtown parking webinar as well. I found some very interesting concepts and how situations can arise that we think that would be not functional, but yet are very functional in many cities and centers in North America. Shortly after that, I attended the DT media launch for the 3 buses, and it was a great success to see all of the people that showed up, and including our councillors here as yourself. On the Sunday, the 11th, I was down at the Legion Roof Renovation Fundraiser, and I got to admit, I had breakfast there and bid on a couple silent auction items, and kudos to the gentleman that was on the roof all weekend. He did get wet a couple times. I understand he started off with a nice bed and ended up with a water bed towards Sunday morning. On the 13th, I attended the Mission Heights neighborhood block party. There was approximately 100 people, residents in the area, and I wanted to see how successful that was, because shortly after that event, I went to my own neighborhood, Avondale neighborhood, and we got some exciting things happening in that part of the city. As well, on the 14th, I attended Accessibility Grand Prairie. It's a new, I'll have more information as we develop. We're morphing right now, but it'll be a agency that people with accessibility issues will be able to get knowledge and help from. After that, I attended Lucy Ramirez Going Away ice cream pie and cake. And after that, I took off for a couple days for family concerns. So thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Councillor O'Toole. Councillor Crokin.
Thanks, Mayor Given. I also attended on August the 9th the DTS, the launch, the 3 new buses, and toured them inside. They're very comfortable. My mother rides them, and she's very pleased with the new buses. On the 12th, I attended on behalf of Mayor Given and Council the Wild Pink Yonder, the cancer fundraiser, horse riders and horse riders and their drivers or riders at the Clarkson Hall, and they were offering rides, but they didn't have appropriate horses for myself. They would have to be trained, is what I was thinking. On August 15th, I also attended the Sunrise House celebration, 10 years. What a great accomplishment when not so many years ago it was actually closed because of fundraising. But a great job to all that were there and have worked very hard on it. And great burgers. Joe, he has his own recipe, and they were great burgers. Just going in the backyard there, when you see all the empty duplexes, we have to ensure that we're having meetings with the Grant Spirit Foundation, the province, and maybe involve Brian Glavin, our Economic Development Officer, upstairs to look at those properties. It's great land. It could be used for affordable housing. It was for affordable housing, but they're just too old to renew and reclaim. So I would like us to make sure we work with them on that. And then on August 16th, I opened a number of tenders, and that was it.
Thanks very much, Councillor Crokin. So I think this will be fairly brief, considering a number of things I've already attended have already been mentioned. I also attended the media launch of the new DTS buses. I was at the Legion Roof fundraiser party. I think the only person that got more wet than JC that day was me from being in the dunk tank. Certainly appreciate all the residents who took a time to stop in and see their mayor and let them know how much they appreciated all his work by dunking him in cold water. I also attended the Mission Heights Neighborhood Association barbecue. Fantastic to see that association so active, and I know that the Pinnacle Ridge Neighborhood Association also had a barbecue on Saturday where they had about 160 residents show up. So it's fantastic to see our neighborhood associations being so successful and the community choosing to support them so well. I also attended Lucy Ramirez going away party. For those that don't know, Lucy is a city staff member who came to us through the municipal internship program, which is a program of the provincial government. Has been very successful for the city of Grand Prairie, where recent post-secondary students have an opportunity to experience local government. And if I'm remembering correctly, Lucy's been with us for 5 years. So obviously very successful. Somebody that came to us under an internship program, stayed that long, and is now furthering her career in local government by going for her master's in planning. So fantastic to see that program working so well, and congratulations to Lucy. I also attended the Sunrise House 10th anniversary celebration, the meeting with Wild Rose Municipal Affairs critic, Mr. MLA Bruce Rowe, and I also attended the launch of the Go Rogue digital magazine. This is a magazine focused on Grand Prairie that you can download for 99 cents for a 1-year subscription on your iTunes, all focused on local events, music, food, and everything else Grand Prairie. On the 16th, I attended a lunch to celebrate the graduation of the Aboriginal Job Shadowing Program students. The City of Grand Prairie has been a long-time participant, I think, since its inception, along with GPRC and a number of other businesses, including Aquaterra, and I believe about 16 Aboriginal students from communities across the north had an opportunity to experience 6 weeks of employment over the course of the summer, some with City of Grand Prairie and some with those other employers. They also had the opportunity to stay in the college dorms, which was a big experience for many of them, coming away from their home communities. And fantastic to see those students learning some new skills and broadening their horizons. And I believe that was all that I had to report. Well, I mean, aside from the fact that he's already gotten more ink than some members of council recently, I would take an opportunity to introduce Community Safety Director Horacio Galante. Horacio, welcome. Fantastic to see you here. Councillor Rice was threatening to ask an engineering question right off the bat, but obviously the debate on some of the motions aside, her nice side is showing tonight, and she let you off the hook easy. And so as you come into focus, we'll say welcome and welcome to the City of Grand Prairie. Fantastic to have you aboard. And with that, we'll call our meeting adjourned.